What's going on, Internet? My name is David, and this is INTJ Report. So I was laying in bed watching this movie back here, which is still playing. Um, Gerard Butler, Jennifer Aniston. He's trying to take her to jail. What is it called? I'd have to look it up. But it's a fun movie, and I was on my phone, so I wasn't paying complete attention anyway. I've already watched it. It's mostly just noise in the background. And then I came across this question. So this is interesting. On Quora, there's this draft page, right? And so I used it to my advantage because I was on my phone in bed. And so I just typed this, ooh la la, because I thought this would be fun to talk about. And so I saved it. So when I came to my computer, I could find it right here under drafts. The interesting thing is I only have 114 drafts. Like these are, things I clicked on. I started typing, and I gave up on before posting. 114. How many answers do I have? Like how much have I actually posted? Over 9,000, maybe 5.5 thousand. 114 I save for later, maybe never. So I saved this for later or now. Should I zoom in on this? I'm watching on large screens. I don't know that you would be able to read it on a. If people are watching me on cell phones and tablets, might be hard. So for INTJs, what's the downside of our need for knowledge? Like, how could there be a downside of knowing more? That seems a little bit ridiculous on the surface, but it's not. What is the downside to seeking knowledge 24/7, 365 for the whole life of me, the person? What's the downside? I'll never know everything, but I will generally know so much more than the people and the environment I'm in. So I don't want to say that I know everything because there's a lot of things I could know that will never ever affect me. And so what use is it to add it into my like query system, my search engine, my dot matrix? What's the downside of our need for? I just know. Pick a multiple, make it reasonable. Not a million times, maybe 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more than the environment and the people I am in the environment with. I know that much more at all times, everywhere. So what's the downside of that? Is it is it really a downside? No, because I'm gonna get out of that situation that I need all that knowledge. No, the downside is the people because there's two downsides. There's people and there's surprises. And surprises is a little easier to explain, I think. I know what's going to happen. I know the future. I know if I go downstairs and I walk outside and I get in the car and I drive to a place, I know exactly what's going to happen. You know, and there's always the argument, well, what if accident? What if driver? What if thing? What if yeah, but I've already accounted. Like, if you could be in my head when I'm driving to see what I see, to see what I pay attention to, it's nothing. None of that stuff's ever a surprise. There's no accidents, right? The last accident I was in, one of my rear tires blew out while I was speeding up in a turn to get on a freeway, and I lost control of the vehicle. Was it an accident? No. I called. You can ask my brother. You can. I literally called my brother that morning and I said, "Get me 2 tires," because it was a sports car and they're not tires that the tire shops stock all day every day because they're not common. And then I went out driving anyway. Was it an accident? I mean, it happened, but I also, no, it's my fault. I pushed. I knew the limit. I pushed the limit. It was a product of my. It was a consequence of my actions. It was not an accident. And thankfully, no one got hurt. I really didn't do any damage to the world. The car technically got totaled because the repair bill was bigger than what it was worth, and that sucks because I kind of love that car. But it wasn't an accident. Like for me to continually put accidents into my possibilities, it's ridiculous. I don't live that way. I don't go there. I know when I'm pushing the boundaries. And I've already accepted the outcomes, all of them, even the shitty ones. So what's the downside? Like the downside is, and maybe I can use adrenaline junkies. Like, you know, these people, they keep pushing it. They keep pushing those sorts of limits, right? Like jumping off of things, like a jump off a roof, jump off of a bigger roof, bungee cords, parachutes, skydiving. And in a sense, like, that's not knowledge, that's just like a feeling. Like, that's like you're getting your body into a scenario that you like the feeling, but you can't achieve it doing the same thing over and over again, so you have to keep going farther. It's like, it's the same with knowledge. I can never be surprised with what I know. You have to, if you're going to surprise me, you have to, you know, wander outside the realm of anything that I've ever studied or cared about or accidentally stumbled upon. That's the real downside. Surprises. That was the easier thing to explain, I guess. The harder thing to explain is people. Because how does a person who has an entirely different strategy plan, like entirely different goals, they want probably something very common and mundane, and like, what, you know, go to school, go to college, get a degree, get married, buy a house, 2.5 kids, dogs, cats, boat, car, whatever. Something in that realm. And if that's most people, like, then where can I ever use my knowledge with people. Because what I know, what I can tell you is going to go against all of those things. Like all the knowledge that most people have been given is propaganda. But propaganda is not necessarily bad. You know, giving the average person goals that they wouldn't ever pick on their own, but just giving them something to do, to look forward to work for, that's not a bad thing. But because of the way my mind works and seeking knowledge and understanding all of this scientifically, philosophically, the downside is really people. How do I create relationships when I can't talk to anyone? And never mind if what I have is knowledge. But what if everything that I have is just my opinions? I still can't talk to anyone. Very rarely. That's the downside. So the two downsides are, one, surprises. I you know, I love surprises if they're true, right? Like I can't tell you what to buy me for Christmas. But this Christmas my mom bought me a set of silverware, right? Just like a couple forks, couple spoons, butter knife, black. Because, you know, the house I'm designing and building, I keep saying black about all the things, and she thinks it's going to be this dark place that's all black, but it's really, you know, the cabinet knobs and the handles, the small things are black. Everything else is very light gray, and so she took that and went out and bought me a set of silverware that was black, and it was nice silverware too. I don't know if she intended all of it. The distressed metal, it was heavy handles. That was a surprise. Like she took something, a, a problem that I never discussed, ever invented. The color of the silverware in the drawer. Although I may have said it at one point. Like I'm just gonna get all black silverware, and then she did it. That was it surprised me well enough, and it was fun. I liked it, but it wasn't a wasn't a problem I was really trying to solve, because I could have just bought black silverware. And so that stuff's fun. That you could surprise me if you listen well enough for those kind of clues. And my mom doesn't listen that well, but she heard black and was thinking about equipping the new kitchen. It wasn't a big stretch for her, but it was good enough. But the biggest downside isn't the surprises. It's people. I can't talk to anyone. I can listen and I can provide feedback, but I can't talk to people because they're not prepared. And I wouldn't ever expect any of you to be prepared to talk to me. The main downside of my need for knowledge is that, one, you can't surprise me, or very rarely. But if you can, fucking awesome. And two, we can't have a conversation because you're never going to be prepared. And so it's not a debate, it's not an argument. what is going to happen is I'm going to listen to you. I will make one meager attempt if I disagree, right? I mean, if I agree with you, I'm just going to say, okay, yeah, let's do it. If I disagree with you for whatever reason, I will make one very meager attempt just to see how open you are to change. And it's generally going to fail because I'm not putting much into it. So why would it succeed? But if I try to succeed in this competition of knowledge, I'm just going to make everyone hate me or dislike me. It's happened before, on accident because I didn't know that was when I was young. I used to just, or not always. Sometimes I would just like go on about an answer and it would frustrate people, like something about the immensity or my something about the amount of knowledge I could share at any given time on any subject. It puts people off most of the time. And so a lot of life is figuring out when to shut up. And the problem is I was already listening the whole time anyway. Like it's like my common advice, if you want to understand an INTJ, is shut up and listen. But the thing is, if I shut up, then what? I was already listening the whole time. I don't shut up and listen. I just shut up and take it. And whatever take it is, whatever it is, I was already listening the whole time. I was already paying attention. So when I give advice, it's not my own medicine, unfortunately. I tell you to shut up and listen because I just want you to hear my words and take my words exactly as I say them. No hidden agenda. Don't read between the lines. Listen to the words that I have specifically chosen to say. Even when I'm riffing like this, I didn't write a script for this. I just hit start recording and started talking. But that's not medicine that I can use because I'm already listening. I'm already paying attention. Even when I decide to open my mouth and say words to you, I'm still listening. I'm still paying attention. So I can shut up, but that's not a good solution. So again, in summary, what are the downsides? My life has no surprises, and I can't talk to people. Yeah, it's not, it's a pretty big downside. But then I can play out if I actually opened my mouth and said things, what would happen? And I can live that experience without actually forcing you to go through it with me. And that's kind of a so is it a downside? If I'm comparing my life to yours or anyone or most people, it's just different. And it does suck in some way. But the upside of knowledge is too fantastic The whole time I was focused on downside. The upside of knowledge is too great. Right? Because if I can't talk to you, it's not going to change anything. I'd love for people to fight me. But, you know, it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. And I have a tank, and you have a shiv from a prison cell, something you've crafted into what looks like a knife. I have a tank, and you have a shiv. So it's like, can I even really expect people to fight me? I would love it. Anything. Anything. Just let's go. So, my third attempt to end my third summary, the upside of knowledge is too great to make the downside like even something I care about. But the downsides are I can't be surprised, and I can't talk to people.